What's that sound? Could it be? Fiziev is back tomorrow at UFC Baku, looking to come back into the winning column after his knockout loss against Mauricio Rufy. He's going to be taking on Manuel Torres. It's a tough fight. It was definitely hard for me to pick. Who am I picking? Gonna have to wait, find out. We're starting with the prelims. First fight, we got Tahir Abdullayev versus Jefferson Nascimento. Both of these guys are debuting. I watched some film. Neither of them have pictures or records here for some reason. Honestly, I wasn't too impressed with either of them. I watched one of Tahir's fights first, and he kind of had that like hands down, bouncing around style on the feet, but he wasn't too defensively sound. Whereas he's a defensive striker, he's kind of passive, waiting for you to come in. But it seemed like a lot of the time when his opponent was coming in, he was catching him or clipping him, and he did end up winning the fight. It was by submission, I believe, but I definitely saw a lot of holes. I don't think he's really the greatest, and he's facing Nascimento. I think Tahir is 21-3. Nascimento's 13-0. Nascimento, he's coming over from LFA. He's not bad. He's got like a nice kickboxing stance. He's got good defense. He's definitely good at circling away, avoiding shots. I think at times he can be a bit too passive, and I don't think that will do him well in a 3-round fight against someone who's dangerous on the ground like Abdullayev. Abdullayev's got some really nice quick kicks. He can take a lot of shots. He's got a chin, I'd say. I didn't really see much, but from what I saw, Abdullayev could get caught. He backs up with his head on the center line a lot, which is something I noticed. And he did win by sub, but he also wasn't the one to initiate the grappling. It was his opponent that did. If it stays on the feet, it's definitely close. Jefferson Nascimento, he's solid. He's a good counterpuncher, but it didn't seem like he had a lot of power in his punches because he was catching his opponent with a lot of combinations that just didn't seem to make him budge. And if that's what you're doing to an LFA fighter, we're in the UFC, and I get it. Like Tahir's debuting too, but he's experienced. He's had 24 professional fights, so I think he knows what it's like to get caught at this point. I think Abdullayev definitely has the clear advantage on the ground. Honestly, this is it's not an easy fight to pick. Like Jefferson Nascimento, honestly, he was losing that fight. His opponent just kind of gassed out. I think I slightly lean Abdullayev. So I think for this fight, I'm going to say Tahir Abdullayev is going to win a decision. I don't think it's going to be like a barn burner. I don't think it's going to be super decisive, but I think it'll be like a 29-28 for Tahir Abdullayev. So on to the next fight. God, this is a great fight. Beksat Almakhan versus Gene Matsumoto. It's an interesting one too. It's the thing. Here's the thing. Beksat definitely has a very clear advantage on the feet. He's got great boxing, very good combos. He tends to throw in combos. He'll come in 2-3 shots at a time. And they clearly have an effect on his opponents. He's not pillow-handed. He's got power. Unfortunately, he has had to fight killers. He fought Alexandre Topuria. I believe he fought Umar too. He's a great fighter. He's always finding shots. He's very crafty. He'll see you coming in, he'll instantly grab a clinch, throw a knee up the middle. He's got good, powerful leg kicks. He definitely has the ability to be taken down, but he doesn't just stay down. He fights his way back up. And his chin can be found, but I don't really see Gene Matsumoto chinning him. He got dropped twice by Topuria and survived. I just don't see a reality where his chin is an issue against someone like Gene Matsumoto. And Gene he's definitely wild. Like he throws some crazy combos. Um, Not the hardest hitter, and he's also prone to getting hit a lot himself. His head movement's not very good. Keeps his head directly on the center line. Tends to get hit a lot because of it. He was in a very close fight with Farid Basharat, who's not horrible. Um, but I think Bekzat has more power than Farid Basharat. Um, Another thing I noticed about Gene Matsumoto is he throws in combinations, but I think a lot of the time the combinations he throws in are way too long, where he's throwing like 7, 8 shots at a time, and it's just a complete overextend. I don't see his style working well, especially when he's always getting caught coming in with these long combos. He gets rocked a lot in his fights. I don't see a world where he can out wrestle or outstrike Bekzat Almacan and just keep him down or do enough to win a decision. All of his fights are close. It's 3 split decisions in a row, I think. I don't think this one's going to be split. I think Bekzat's going to win a clear 30-27. Maybe there's a 29-28, but I think it's a clear win for Bekzat Almacan. I just don't really see any issues that Matsumoto presents for him stylistically. So I'm going to go Bekzat Almacan by decision. And then in the next fight, we have Daniil Donchenko versus UFC auto-generated fighter Theodore Berggren. Oh, dude, you're a casual. Yeah, no. He's 8-3, I think. I'm not going to overthink this fight. I'm not going to do an in-depth analysis of this fight. I mean, Daniil Donchenko, he definitely showed some holes in his game in his last fight. He shouldn't have gone to a decision against someone like Alex Morono. That's the type of guy that someone like you should be knocking out. But I just don't think any of these holes will be exposed by an 8-3 regional fighter. I don't see it. So I think maybe Berggren will survive the first round, but I think Daniil Donchenko will knock him out in the second round. I think it's just a matter of time, honestly. So yeah, Daniil Donchenko, round 2 knockout. And then this is actually an interesting fight. Originally, when I watched Konofsky's last fight against Yi Zha, I thought it was like a crazy robbery. Like, oh my gosh, Yi Zha clearly won that fight. I still don't think Offley won, but on rewatch, I gave Offley round 1 and round 3. I had it as a draw because I thought Yi Zha got a 10-8 in round 2, and I also thought round 3 was close, but Offley, he stayed in there. He got dropped. I believe he got dropped twice in round 2, and he was still in there in round 3, making it competitive. I think Javier Reyes sucks. Like, if I'm being honest, I don't think Javier Reyes is good at all. And I think Offley, he's definitely got the edge when it comes to UFC experience. He's got very solid wrestling, very solid ground and pound. He doesn't give up when he's on a shot. He's trying to get his opponents to the ground. He doesn't give up on the shot. He's got decent control. He does throw a lot of knees and elbows in the clinch. He can make it scrappy, He definitely has he throws a lot of very telegraphed kicks, but I don't really see Javier Reyes stepping back on the kick and entering matrix. Like, I just don't see it. He's not going to catch a kick and then toss him to the ground and destroy it. Like, it's just, Javier Reyes is not that good. I don't think he's that good of a fighter. And Konofsky's got heart. I think Reyes' whole thing is just being super fluky, and I just don't see him. I mean, hopefully his chin's definitely a question mark, but I just think if you can get dropped multiple times and stay in the fight, I don't think Reyes is like a complete sniper. I think Yi Zha is a way more technically sound striker than Javier Reyes is, and I think Offley will get him down and possibly find a submission. Honestly, I think it'll either be a clear decision or a submission. I think Offley can find he can get on his back, lock up a rear naked choke. I think I'm gonna go Offley by decision, or not decision, round 2 submission. I think Offley finishes him. I think Reyes is really bad. He hasn't impressed me at all. I don't see him really beating anyone even decent, and I think Konofly's decent. So yeah, I'll go Konofly round 2 submission. Into the next fight. This is an interesting one. Nursultan Ruzaboyev. Nursultan Ruzaboyev versus Andrei Puliev. I think with this fight, I don't really see a path to victory for Puliev. It's for me when I watch him fight like Ateba Gautier, specifically the Gautier fight. A lot of people give him credit for that fight, like, oh man, he survived against Gautier, man, like he made him. But that's all he really did. He didn't actually do anything. Like he outstruck him, yeah, but it was just like pitter patter shots. He didn't really put up any sort of resistance, and he didn't show anything in his game that could make me think he would put up any resistance against someone like Nursultan Ruzaboyev, who's a really good fighter. He has one loss. It's against Buckley, who obviously he's been looking not great as of recently, but that's still a ranked fighter. It's not like a complete bum. Ruzaboyev's he's good. He's on a good streak. I think, he's big. He's obviously 6'5". He's huge. I think he'll have the very, very clear advantage over Puliev. I think he can beat him on the feet, but I think I probably see a world where he takes him down, kind of just holds him there, or even ground and pounds him to maybe like a TKO. I think if I had to pick a way this fight plays out, I'd say decision. Just because I don't think, Ruzaboyev's not this suffocating warrior on the ground who's just going to beat you until you're bloody. Like, yeah, that's not necessarily him, but I could see a world where he gets a ground and pound TKO. I think I'm going to go Ruzaboyev by decision, though, ultimately. Then we have Abdulrahman Yakyaev versus Julius Walker. Yeah, man. Who am I going to pick? This is a tough one, man. Julius Walker, he's a marauder, He's just like a knockout machine. He'll really just put you... No, I'm picking Yakyaev. I think this is a very clear, easy fight to pick. Julius Walker, he's extremely flat-footed, extremely easy to find his chin. He just got destroyed by Dustin Jacoby. Yakyaev, he did look a little sloppy on the feet in his last fight, but honestly, in my eyes, it was just a result of him underestimating Ribeiro and thinking he would just run in and KO him with the first punch. I think once he started to realize, like, okay, I'm fighting a UFC fighter, he made pretty easy work of him. He got him to the ground, and he just kind of had his way, worked his way into a submission. Did it pretty convincingly. He hasn't really been showed any resistance so far in his run. I don't think Julius Walker is going to be the one to show him that resistance. I think Yakyaev is going to knock out Julius Walker in the first round. He could sub him. I think I'm going to lean towards a knockout, though. So yeah, Abdulrahman Yakyaev, round 1 knockout. Then, Barman Hassanov versus Eric Nolan. I hadn't heard of this Hassanov guy. This is obviously his debut. I hadn't heard of him before this card. I went and watched one of his fights. What have I done? I went and watched one of his fights. He's good. He's not great on the feet. He lacks a lot of discipline on the feet. He'll come in, he'll throw wild. Sometimes he'll throw some crazy shot with his eyes closed. And I think he is very prone to getting caught, which could be dangerous against someone like Eric Nolan, who does have very good boxing. He's clean boxing. He was piecing up Susarkayev. But the thing about Farman is he has great takedowns. And if he truly commits to a shot and he wants to get you down, at least to the opponent that I saw, he's going to get you down. And when he gets you to the ground, his ground and pound is just vicious. Like the elbows he was throwing completely bloodied up his opponent's face. Got a doctor stoppage in the first round. It was pretty vicious, and he he wasn't just stalling, trying to get control time. He was trying to put his opponent through the mat and end it, which I respect. I like that style. And Eric Nolan's good. He's got very good boxing. He's got some power, but he just doesn't really have the greatest takedown defense. And he did give up his back pretty easily against Susurkayev, which I think is just really dangerous against someone who's as vicious on the ground as Hasanov. And I think I don't think it's gonna do very well. I think Hasanov's gonna find he's gonna get him to the ground, maybe find a submission. I could see a ground and pound TKO as well. I think more likely, I'd probably say Hasanov round 2 TKO, but I definitely could also see a world where he subs him. What I can say though, Eric Nolan could catch him. There's a very real possibility that Eric Nolan catches him, but I think that's his only path to victory. I think Hasanov will finish him if he doesn't, which is sad because I do like Eric Nolan, but they're giving him a killer, man. They are. This guy's only 5-0 too, I think. I'm pretty sure he's only 5-0, which is crazy. Next we got Abus Magomedov versus Michel Oleksiejczuk. I hate this fight. If I'm being honest, I hate this fight because I don't care how it sounds. There's no amount of money you could pay me to care about Abus Magomedov or Michel Oleksiejczuk. I just, neither of them are all that good. Obviously, there's very glaring things you could point out. Abus Magomedov, notoriously bad gas tank. We've also seen Oleksiejczuk get submitted, so there's a world where Abus subs him. To me, this fight's kind of a coin flip. I don't see why Abus could possibly be a minus 400 favorite. I think that's ridiculous. I think it's a coin flip. Honestly, I think Oleksiejczuk, I think he might win this fight purely based on the fact that he can outlast Abus Magomedov and stay in the fight and not wilt at all and not gas out. And I just think as the fight goes on, it's just going to benefit him more. I think Abus will probably win the first round. He'll be looking good, and then the next round will come in and he'll be looking like an unranked heavyweight. So I'll probably just say Oleksiejczuk 29-28 decision maybe. But this fight just feels so unimportant. Like, I don't even think this really needs to be a main card fight. I think this fight's a better fight. Probably less, not as important, but it's a better fight. This is going to be a better fight. This is going to be a better fight. I don't really care about this fight. If I'm being honest, I don't care about it. But this is a decent fight. Ikram Aliskerov versus Bruno Ferreira. I don't see a world where this goes to a decision. I think one of them is getting chinned. I know Ikram's a pretty heavy favorite. If I'm being honest though, I think he might be the one getting chinned here. He's very chinny. He does have a reach advantage. It's solid 4-inch reach advantage, 2-inch height advantage. So obviously he could be, he'll have the advantage in that department, but the thing is he doesn't really fight at range. He walks forward. If he's walking forward and meeting Bruno Ferreira in the pocket, I think it's going to end bad for him. I think I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I think Ferreira is going to catch him. I think this is going to be a really good fight. I think it's going to be a dog fight. I think later into the fight, as they've taken a lot more damage, Ikram will maybe come in trying to throw a combo. Bruno will slip it, hit him with like an overhand or just a straight. And I think he will knock him out. I think Bruno Ferreira will win this by round 3 knockout if I had to guess. And then this one makes me sad. It makes me really sad because I do like Charles Johnson. Here's what I will say. The size advantage he has in this fight is huge. He's 5 inches taller, 5-inch longer reach, 4-inch leg reach advantage. But I don't know how much that will benefit him against someone like Asu Almabayev, who will just be shooting at his legs, trying to get him down. I think there is a world where he knocks him out, but even Manel Kape didn't really knock him out cold. Manel Kape has monster power at flyweight. Manel did low-key eye poke him. So I don't think Asu has a bad chin. I don't think he's really super prone to being knocked out. And I think he's just gonna control Charles Johnson, honestly. Like, I don't think he's gonna submit him. I think Charles has good enough survivability to make it to the end. I just don't see. For me, it's a fight where, you know, he's kind of like piecing him up. He starts finding his rhythm on the feet, then boom, he gets taken down, and all of his momentum is just gone, and he gets controlled, and maybe some ground and pound from Asu does enough to swing the round. And then he's back, and he has to build that rhythm again. He tries again, and then boom, he's down. And I know Asu, he's not Habib, but Charles Johnson also doesn't have the Jose Aldo brick wall takedown defense. Like, I see a very real world, you know, good takedown defense, I will say. But I do, like, Asu is a good wrestler, and I do see a world where he gets him down. I don't think he's gonna sub him, but I do think he will win a pretty convincing decision. I'm saying 30-27. Maybe there's a 29-28 in there. I think he's like completely outmatched on the feet, but I just don't see a world where he's dumb enough to let it stay on the feet. And I also feel like he's capable of taking it to the ground, basically at will. Maybe he'll get a few takedowns stuffed, but he's not just going to give up after one gets stuffed. But like I said, Charles Johnson could catch him. You can never count Charles Johnson out of a fight, because obviously he knocked out Loner Kavanaugh, knocked out Joshua Van. You know, he's a dog, and if you count him out, you're probably going to get knocked out. But I don't think Asu Al-Mabaiv is going to count him out. I think he knows what he's facing. I think he knows what kind of fight he's walking into. And I think he'll be smart enough to win the fight. Then, I'm actually really excited for this fight because I love watching Nazim Sadikov strike. He has a very satisfying style. He's very fast on his feet. He's a very high-level striker. He's not the greatest grappler, obviously, but when he's on the ground, he's constantly fighting to get back up. He's not just going to sit there and accept bottom position, conserve stamina, which obviously could be bad if you're not conserving stamina, but I don't think Mateus Camilo is like a super suffocating grappler to the point where it's like, oh, if he wants to keep you down, he's going to keep you down, man. I just don't think he's like that. You know, he's not bad. He's not the greatest striker. He definitely has some very telegraphed kicks. He comes in a lot, and there's a lot of opportunities where you can catch him when he's like coming in with like his big hooks. He definitely keeps his head on the center line a lot. Something I did notice. I think he'll probably land a couple takedowns, maybe like 2 or 3 takedowns on Sadikov, but I just don't see him keeping him there. And honestly, I think on the feet, it's a complete mismatch. I don't really think it's close. I think Sadikov's going to absolutely style on him on the feet. Obviously, he got kind of beat up and destroyed by Fares Ziam, but the frame difference between Ziam and these two, like, Ziam was so much bigger than Sadikov. This is like a mirror match, basically. And I think that really benefits Sadikov. I think as they break away from the clinch, Nazim is just going to be piecing him up. I don't think he's going to make it look hard. He's going to be slipping all the shots that Camilo throws. Camilo will come in with the hook. He'll slip, throw a counter. I think eventually he'll catch him, probably like a left hand, maybe a straight, maybe a hook, but I think he'll catch him with the left, and I think he'll put him to sleep. I think it's going to be a cold knockout. I think he'll knock him out in the second round. That's my final prediction. Nazim Sadikov, round 2 KO. And we have co-main event. This is another fight that I don't think is that hard to predict, and I think a lot of people are kind of overthinking it. People are not very high on Shara Bullet, and don't get me wrong, I don't think he's like a world beater. Shara Bullet, man, he's dangerous, man. He'll kill you. Like, I don't think he's like a complete killer, but he is an elite striker. That's something you can't really deny. And another thing you can't really deny, I know that styles are something you need to take into, you need to think about, but Michel Pereira got knocked out in a minute by Kyle Dawkins. That's just a fact. You can't deny it. If Kyle Dawkins can knock you out in 1 minute, and I know people are going to be like, oh, but he's faced better strikers and not got knocked out. I'm talking about the current version of Michel Pereira. I'm not talking about Michel Pereira from 4 years ago. The current version of Michel Pereira got knocked out in a minute against Kyle Dawkins. And if Kyle Dawkins can find your chin, so can Shara. And Shara's a really good striker. I think he has a lot of different ways he can win this. He could hit him with a straight down the pipe, stepping back. He could hit him with a head kick, spinning kick of some sort. I think it's just a complete mismatch. I think Shara's going to knock him out in the first round. I'm not overthinking this. I refuse to overthink this, and there's nothing that can convince me that this fight will be even remotely close. Now, the main event. This was hard. This was hard for me to pick. Because I think Torres is really good. I do. I think he's not just a power slugger. Like, he's got really clean striking. That 1-2 he throws down the middle is very, very clean. But, and obviously we did see Fiziev get caught pretty bad with a cross from Rufi. But Torres is not Rufi. That's what I will say. He's not Rufi. He's very good, but he's not Rufi. And, 2-inch height advantage, 2-inch reach advantage. He's definitely got the size. He's got the power. He could knock out Fiziev. Could be looking at a fight where Fiziev's winning and then he gets caught late. But okay, so Fiziev, he's got the slight frame disadvantage. Not crazy, but it's definitely there. Obviously, people know his strengths. He's got crazy kicks. He's very, very explosive when he enters the pocket with hooks. He's very, I would say he's somewhat pillow-fisted. He can knock you out, obviously, but it's not something he can rely on really. And there's obviously the fact that he is coming off a knockout loss, which does affect you. But before he got knocked out by Rufi, that was a competitive fight. He was, he was in there. He was he had a close round 1 with him. You could argue he won round 1. And he doesn't have a bad chin. He's gone to a decision with Gaethje twice, and obviously after what we just saw from Gaethje, it's a good look. That wasn't the same version of Ilya, but I'm not going to get into that. But he doesn't have a bad chin. Torres, Torres is good. He's a little flat-footed compared to like a Mauricio Rufi, but I don't think it's too big of a disadvantage. Fiziev will obviously be chopping at that lead leg. He has a great 1-2, so Fiziev does have to be careful. I could see a world where he enters, he steps in, goes for a calf kick. Torres blasts the 1-2, drops him. And if he rocks him or drops him, the fight's over. I don't see a world where Torres rocks or drops Fiziev and he recovers. So he really has to be careful here. There's also a world where Torres fights in southpaw, because we did see him come out southpaw against Grant Dawson. Will he? Probably not, but he could. And what I will say, his cardio is a big question mark. He hasn't left the first round in any MMA fight since 2019, whether that's win or loss. So we really don't know how his cardio is. I see a world where he could knock out Fiziev, but I think if I'm being smart here, Fiziev, he's entering with hooks, he's slipping out of the way, he's blasting him with leg kicks, body kicks, kind of keeping him active. Like Torres needs that right hand, but if Fiziev is blasting that switch kick to the body, he's gonna have to drop the right hand to block it. It's gonna keep his hand at bay. I think he'll do enough to win a decision. I don't think Fiziev is going to knock him out. I don't see any world where he does that, but I do think the experience and the high-level striking of Fiziev, even though it may be a little overrated, will be enough to win a decision against Manuel Torres. But he needs to be on point, because Torres will knock you out. He is extremely powerful, and his 1-2 is extremely quick. It can't be understated how careful he has to be in this fight. So my final predictions: Fiziev by decision, Shara by knockout, Nazim by knockout, Asu by decision, Ferreira by knockout, Oleksiejczuk by decision, Farman by, I think I said submission. That one's either or. Yakiev by knockout, Ruzaboyev by decision, Konofly by submission, Donchenko by knockout, Almakhan by decision, and Abdullayev by decision. So those are my picks for UFC Fight Night Baku. And yeah, I hope we get some good fights, because I still need to mentally recover from what happened at the White House a couple weeks ago. It's breaking me. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying the best upload schedule on YouTube. Peace.